Welcome to Lesson 6. In this lesson, we're going to start forming Latin nouns. This time, we're going to cover a bit more territory, but by the end of the lesson, you should be able to translate some simple sentences. First up, our phrase, Advocata nostra, our advocate. So we've already seen how Latin verbs have various forms. We know that the verb endings change according to who is performing an action. Latin nouns also have various forms, but the way they change is a little different from the way the verbs change. Noun endings change according to how the noun is used in a sentence. This change in a noun to show its use is known as case, and the endings are known as case endings. The endings of Latin pronouns and adjectives also change like this. Case is the reason why you would have seen the word Christus, Christ, for example, appear in several forms. Perhaps Christi, Christe, Christum. Each form indicates Christ, but each takes a different role in the sentence in which it's found, and that role is indicated by its ending. Nouns, as well as pronouns and adjectives, have 5 main cases, as well as a couple of others whose forms are quite similar to the main cases. We're mostly going to look at the 5 most common cases. A list of the noun forms is known as a declension, and Latin nouns fall into 5 main patterns of declensions. These can be memorized, and you will be memorizing these. So here's your new paradigm. It's a noun paradigm. First declension pattern. Like the verb paradigms, noun paradigms have 3 columns. The first is for the cases: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. The nominative case, that's the first row forms, that's the form used for subject nouns, and we've particularly been focusing on subject nouns. The left-hand column, where you find the cases, gives the entire word on this particular table, but in the text and in future lessons, you'll see an abbreviated form. There is an acronym. It's a little bit silly, but it may help you to remember these cases. Never give Dad active apples. You can see that the first letters correspond to the first letters of the cases, case names. The order that I've given here isn't necessarily the order you'll find in other textbooks. There's quite a lot of variation and it's quite arbitrary. But if you know that and you come across a noun table in a different textbook, you'll be able to adjust accordingly. The middle column is for singular forms. The third column is for the plural forms. And we recite the endings like this: a, arum, is, as, is. The process of writing the different forms of a noun is called declining, and we're going to decline Regina. Now you'll recognize this form from your vocabulary listing: Regina, Reginae, feminine, queen. And the 2 forms that you find in the listing are the nominative singular and the genitive singular forms. The genitive singular is the form of a noun that determines to which declension it belongs. Reginae indicates that this word is a first declension noun. So there are the different forms for Regina. And let's see how we can use that in a sentence. We've got a few very simple Latin sentences here, just a verb and a subject noun, and we'll do some translation. First up, we'll translate the Queen prays into Latin. The slide shows 2 tables, the verb paradigm and a noun paradigm. Start with the verb first. It's always good when you're doing analysis of a sentence to start with the verb in Latin or English. So we're saying that someone's doing some praying, so that's the third person singular. And in Latin, we will use orat. And remember, orat could mean he prays or she prays or it prays. Our subject is the Queen, and we need to use the nominative singular form of Regina for that, which is Regina. So our sentence will read, Regina orat. Here's another example. This time, the Queens pray. Again, pray is our verb, and again, it's in the third person, but this time our subject noun, Queens, is plural. Therefore, we need to use the plural form of pray, which is orant. The subject noun, since it's plural, will be in the nominative plural form, which is reginae. And here's our finished sentence, reginae orant. Third example is only one word, and it's just to remind you that a separate subject noun isn't always found in Latin. So they pray is the English form. The verb again is pray, and we'll need the plural form of the third person, orant. The subject is they, and that's a pronoun, and we know that they is already contained within our Latin verb. So the answer is simply orant. On to vocabulary. 6 new first declension nouns. Lacrima, lacrimae, feminine, tear. Advocata, advocate, feminine, advocate. Ecclesia, ecclesiae, feminine, church. Spina, spinae, feminine, thorn. Justitia, justitiae, feminine, justice. Ancilla, ancillae, feminine, serving girl or handmaid. Homework, much the same as in the other lessons. In your text, you'll find some exercises at the end of the lesson. There are some supplementary exercises to download. And your drill table now includes a row of nouns to decline every day you study Latin. As with the verbs, this can be done orally if you can't manage to write it, but do try to write and speak Latin as often as you can. That's all from me. Until next time, goodbye and God bless.